Hi, this is Lynn from Alamosa Quilt Company, and I'm going to share with you today how to make a rope bowl, and I'm going to demonstrate several techniques with that. I'm going to demonstrate how to get started, how to tip up the sides, and how to join two different colors of rope. So I'm going to be using a navy and this orange. For my little project, and I'm also using contrasting thread so that you can really see what I'm doing. Normally I would try to match the thread color to the rope, so I would normally use this, but I'm going to use orange so that you can see what I'm doing for this one. So let's get started. To get started, you need to coil your rope up by hand a little bit, and you want the rope feeding from your right hand side so that your bowl grows on the left, not the right. So I'm going to coil this up just by hand. Get it under the light so you can see a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to go around a little bit more. And then what I like to do is I just do one straight stitch right across just to hold it. You can also put pins in it, or I don't know, straight stitching is just easier. Okay, so then it looks like this. Then I'm going to come back here to the middle. So this is the middle right here, the fray bit that you can see. And I'm going to change my zigzag. I'm going to make it as wide as possible, which on my machine is 5.5 millimeters. And I like to adjust the stitch length to 2. Now this is a personal preference. You can set your stitch width and length whatever you want. This is just what I use. And then I'm going to start right at the frayed part. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that pretty clearly. And I'm going to go over that a couple times. I'm just trying to stitch that frayed part down a bit. Okay. And then I like to cut my threads, because if you don't, you'll probably sew them in. Okay. And now you want to zigzag. So when it goes down on the left hand side, you want it to be on the left rope coil, and when it goes down on the right hand side, you want it to be on the right side coil. So you're basically stitching the two pieces together. And this is going to be a little fiddly. You're going to have to turn it. And it's hard to turn because it's so tiny. And then you're going to have to backtrack it. Okay, I'm going to need back up one more time. Okay, and now you can see the tail is over here. When it comes down on the right hand side, it's on the outer rotation. So that's where I want it to be. And now it will start turning itself once it gets big enough, but here's some more threads. But right now it's not big enough, so I am still kind of turning it with my fingernails. So this is most of the project right here. Once you get it started, you're just feeding the new rope in and sewing the new rope to the coil. Get some more rope here. You might hear it when I pull the rope. I have my rope on a Lazy Susan. which is pretty handy, I can tell you. Okay, so because I'm trying to demonstrate some things, I'm going to let this base get a little bit bigger, and then we're going to splice in some orange rope. And so I oftentimes don't really have a plan. I just start. I'm not really measuring anything. I just go, that looks good. But for this, I'm going to give you actual measurements. We'll measure it. We'll know exactly what we're doing. So now it's big enough that it's really just kind of turning itself. I'm just guiding it. I'm trying to keep the join between the two ropes in the middle of my foot, which is harder than it looks because I've got a camera right in the middle that I have to look around. So you can see that the new rope, and this is the coil, and the join is right in between. And that's why I like to use an open toe foot, because I like to see that going in there like that. Okay, now I'm going to splice in some orange rope. And so what you're going to need to do is obviously you have to cut the one rope to splice in the other. So give yourself a little bit of room. Okay, I'm about 2 inches away. I'm going to cut the rope about 2 inches from the needle. Okay, and I've got the orange rope here, but so that you can see it, I am going to change thread color to blue to sew on the orange. So I'm going to stitch up here a little bit more. Okay, and then what I like to do is I like to stitch this down. And so that's the advantage of this rope is 5 millimeters wide. My widest stitch length on my machine, or stitch width rather, on my machine is 5.5, which is just perfect. So I can come and I'm just zigzagging right over the rope. So I'm not stitching it to anything. I just zigzagged over it. Yeah, you can see that. I just zigzagged over it to kind of hold the frayy bits, we'll call it. Now I'm going to take the next rope and I'm going to put it and just sort of butt it right up there. And I am going to come along and zigzag, and I'm going to zigzag into that. So I'm just zigzagging that rope, and since it's not sewed to anything, it doesn't want to feed, but we'll pull it back out. Okay, and now I've kind of got my ropes joined a little bit there. I need to change thread color, so bear with me. Okay, now I've got the thread changed on my machine, and I'm going to put the orange rope back here a little bit. And if you will, come and start a little past where you're gonna join it. Make sure it's joined up nicely, but you'll go, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or so. And I'm gonna back into it. What happened? And I'm gonna just back into, so I'm gonna take one stitch there, and then I'm gonna back it up. And then I'm going to keep going. When I come around, I'll clip those threads before I sew. Sew past that join, I'll clip the threads. And if I need to, when I get to that join, I'll zigzag over it again with the blue thread. I'm going to need to zigzag over it again. That's all right. You can see it's kind of a mess, but we'll clean it up. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull that thread out of the way so that I can stitch right over that join. And so again, the thread is kind of going over that one rope. I'm not sewing it to anything at this point. And now I gotta back up to where I need to be. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to smash that in there and keep going. So see, it's not really that hard. And now you just keep going, and this time I'm doing it with the blue on the orange rope. I'll keep going around and around until the base is the size that I want, and then I'll show you how to tip it up. So the way I have a little tape measure right here, and I like to measure right at the needle. So I have a knee lift on my machine, so I can just with my knee push it over, and I can see now that my rope, my base is a little bit more than 4 inches wide. I'm shooting for 6. So we got to go around a few more times until this is 6 inches across. Or if you're following a pattern, whatever the measurement they tell you the base needs to be. If your rope is twisting or anything, you want to untwist it before you sew. Okay, don't sew twisted rope in, because then your finished project is going to probably be weird with twisty rope. Okay, the camera base is now starting to be a problem. So let me see if it's big enough that I can tip it up. No, I'd like it to be at least 5. So we're going to go around one more time. It all the way around one more time. Okay, I'm using the join right here as kind of my measurement, my mark for going around. So this is tad more than 5, and because of the camera base right there, that's as big as I'm going to be able to get it, and that'll work. This is just a demo project anyway, so I was shooting for 6, but 6 isn't going to work. So how do you tip it? How do you tip up the sides? Well, it's just as simple as this. You just tip it up. Okay, now the things to keep in mind is you do not want to cup your hand. your hand, you want to keep your hand flat. I like to rest the base right at the edge of my machine right here, the left edge of the machine. I just like to rest it right there. It will just start turning of its own accord as you go, and you're just holding it. But I like to keep it held right there until I get a few times around, and then you can tip it more vertical. The distance between your needle and the edge of your machine is a factor that you can't change, and it is going to determine the shapes that you can make, easily make. So I'm going to have, I can't do straight sides because this is about 3 inches from here to here. And, you know, it is what it is. So just tip up and keep sewing. Remember, don't cup your hand. You want it to stay as flat as it can be. And it's easier to do this with a round, get good with a round bottom before you try an oval bottom, because you're more likely to cup your hand with an oval bottom than with a round bottom. And why that is, I don't know, but it's longer, it's bigger than your hand. I don't know why that is, but that has been my experience with both myself personally and with teaching students. We just tend to cup our hands around an oval base. Okay, now you can see I don't know if you can see it clearly yet, but it is the sides are starting to form. I still have the base right here at the left edge. I need some more rope. Let me spill myself out some more rope. After I've gone around a couple more times, I'll take this out so you can see how it's tipped. And I'm trying to get my goal is going to be to get the base as vertical as I can along the left-hand side. But you have to get far enough away from the base before you can do that. Okay, I don't know if it's obvious in the picture, but my base is getting a little bit more vertical as I go, the further out I get. Whoops, didn't mean to bump you. Okay, you can see here's my join. I'm going to go around one more time, and then I'm going to change back to blue. that looks about right. So again, stitch up a ways, and then when you get about 2 inches or so from the edge, I'm gonna try to just zigzag over that. Try not to push on the cut edge so that you don't fray it out more. That was better. Okay, and now I'm going to put the blue one in here. And stitch back. Oh, yep, came across. Okay. Cut the blue thread. Okay, now I have to change threads again. So now you can see it's an actual bowl. It's not done yet, but it is an actual bowl right here with that base. Okay, so we're going to continue. I'm going to add some, I'm going to go back to my blue rope and finish up my bowl. I need 3, maybe 4 rounds. I don't know, we'll see. Again, I don't really use a pattern. I just kind of, until it looks the way I want it to look. Okay, so now you can see there is some blue thread right there that'll cover it up. So, and it's pretty well frayed. I'm going to just cut that off. So, see, oh, there's a little bit right there. Let's cut that too. So, you can make it up, and then I just made it worse, so let's cut it again. Be careful though, this is like cutting your bangs. All right, you don't want to go crazy. Okay, so now I've made a nice edge. Again, I'm going to butt it up, and I'm going to start back up here on the blue and back up. And the act of backing up kind of pushes, oh, I didn't bring my thread up, kind of pushes the 2 ropes together. Okay, now I gotta go back. Okay, we'll cut this. All right, now we're back in business. Just keep going. Again, make sure that you're not cupping the base and you've got it as vertical as your machine will allow it to go. I guess that's the best way to think of it. As vertical as you can get it with the distance between the edge of the machine and the needle for your model of machine. Okay, I'm at 5 times around with the blue, and I think that that's going to be good enough for me. And I'm going to do a little loop finish. And so I'm going to cut. I'm cutting back here. And then I'm going to take it, and I'm going to take that frayed end, and I'm going to tuck it right in between. See that? Tucked it right in between. And then I'm going to stitch right up, and I'm going to stitch along. Where it joins to the basket. And then I'm going to go back. And I'm going to go back just a little bit past where the end is. And so this is the end of the rope right there. So I went a little bit past, and I'm going to come up this way. And back that up a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of just go right over the middle to seal any frayed, and I'm cutting my thread. Okay, so here's my bowl. Okay, looks pretty nice, pretty simple. There are a few things you should know. You need to, you need a denim needle. Okay, I'm just using the Schmetz denim needles. This is a pack, 2 90s, 2 100s, and a 110. I can't tell much difference between the 90 and the 100. The 110 I am using on this thicker rope. So you can see this rope is much thicker. And so you need at least a 100 I found on this one. The 90, my machine was skipping stitches when I used this thicker rope. And I think this is 7 millimeters maybe. I don't know. It's 5/16. This rope is 3/16 inches in diameter, and this is 5/16 inches in diameter. And so let me get some of this so you can kind of see the difference. See, one is much thicker than the other. I do have 2 coasters made. So this one used the thicker rope, and this one was with the 3/16. The 3/16 is my favorite size. I like the way it looks. It's easy to work with. You know, this was a little bit harder to work with, trying to get it up underneath your needle, underneath the foot on your machine, because it's kind of thick. You can do it. You know, it's just gonna understand it's not gonna slip under there super simple. You're gonna have to work at it to get it up under there. But it sews up nice, and if you like the look of that, then, you know, that's great. I just personally don't. I prefer this. The other thing is you want to use good quality rope. The ropes that I sell 2 different brands. I have sewed with both of them. They're great, both of them. They're both 3/16. They're both 100% cotton. The cheaper one though has a core to it. I'm going to look and see if I've got any of that less expensive. Yep, here's the other one. So I got a little mess down here. So this is the less expensive stuff. See, it's got a cotton core inside, and it's different than the braiding on the outside. Whereas this rope, which is what I've been using, it has a solid, it's all the same thing. There's no center. It's just all twisted and braided in together. So it's solid of one thing. So you can do a nice fray finish with this. I wouldn't do a fray finish with this, but a coil finish or the little loop finish like I did here, or any of these other things, it's just, it doesn't look as nice because it's not a consistent material all the way through. But the finished product will be great, okay? Just keep in mind that you don't really want to use a fray finish with this cheaper rope that I've got. And I guess that's about it. So you've learned how to start, which you can see there on the bottom. You don't have to start the way I did. You can just do like, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, just straight stitch through, you know, about 3 coils wrapped around. and then just start where the new rope meets the coil, like just start stitching right here with your zigzag if this is just gone across. um, oh, the other thing I wanted to be sure to tell you was you don't want tension on this rope as you're sewing. You want it to be as free pulling as possible. So don't set the rope on the floor. Okay, we've learned the hard way, when you set the rope on the floor and you're pulling it up, that the tension for of pulling it up from the floor, it can make your bottom not flat because you're pulling too hard. And if you're getting it where your bottom is not sitting flat, that's most likely what's going wrong, is you've got too much tension on the rope the new rope that you're pulling in. So make sure that there's no tension on the rope. It just needs to pull freely. And enjoy. I mean, I didn't have a pattern for this. I just, the base on this was a little bit more than 5 before I tipped it up. I was going for 6, as I said, but I have a camera right here, as you can see, and the base of the camera back behind was preventing me from being able to make the base bigger. So that's not going to be a problem for you because you're not filming it. So if you get the bowl finished and you realize that there's a place where there's a hole, just stick it back under the machine and sew it again. Okay, it'll be just fine. Don't worry about it. If you need to rip out, go for it. You can rip it out. Just get your seam ripper right in between and just start pulling. It rips out really easy. And then, you'll have all the little threads that you'll probably want to take care of because that's not going to look very nice. But you can rip it out and start over. Okay, not a problem. So don't be afraid to try some rope sewing. It's really, really fun. It is a little addicting. You've been warned. Okay, I need to join Rope Sewers Anonymous or something because I just can't stop making stuff. So